Okay, hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And we're live. Welcome to the George Markoski Show.
Welcome. We've got Christina here joining you tonight, so strap in for a very fun night.
That's right, it's going to be fun. Now, I had a question posed in one of our groups.
Yes.
They're talking about the National Disability Scheme Australia. And basically, this is a scheme where they're trying to get housing for disabled people. It's very specialised, and people wanted to ask my opinion on it. And I'm going to be telling you my opinion on it tonight. Right, straight down the middle. That's what I'm going to talk about. Also, guys, if you've got any other questions tonight, start posting. If you can hear us, well, you can probably hear us, but if you're here, say, hey, I'm here, say hello, don't be shy.
Let me know that you can hear us loud and clear, because sometimes we have a few techie issues. I would hate to be doing this whole show with no sound. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's check that we can get some sound working here.
Well, I can see us now on Facebook right here. Look at that.
Talk about Inception.
It's like,
this is going live Inception.
I know, how weird is that? Very weird. But anyway, doesn't matter. So what I want to talk about today is talk about this disability scheme and a few other things. And I'm going to be talking about the difference between labour and capital. Okay. Because a lot of people don't understand the difference. And who's heard of Robert Kiyosaki out there? Who's seen Robert Kiyosaki? Who's the founder of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Crash Flow Quadrant?
Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, great little educational book. If you haven't read it, I recommend
I'm going to share my screen, except I've got to go right to the bottom here. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a few things about cash flow.
We're talking cash flow quadrant tonight, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about this because to answer this question about the disability scheme, I need to explain this other thing.
We need a few visuals here, visual concepts, so we can go through exactly what it means, what it's going to mean for you personally, how it's going to look, how it's going to work. Because you need to know the ins and outs of any strategy that you're considering. And
really, what I want to do is I want to talk overall about how to choose a strategy. Like, how do you choose a strategy to invest in? What do you do? I'm going to give you the inside secret of how the rich choose a strategy and how the poor choose a strategy and the difference. So,
very useful info.
It certainly is useful. Okay, so let me share my screen.
I'll let you.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, here we go, guys. So
mission granted.
Okay, so this is the cash flow quadrant, and basically Robert Kiyosaki. Spotlight here. There we go. Look at this. Robert Kiyosaki. How good is that?
Fantastic.
I'm excited. Robert Kiyosaki, he is the person who invented the cash flow quadrant. And it's a work of genius. And I'm a big fan of Robert Kiyosaki. And actually, every time he comes to Australia, normally we catch up and have a chat. And I like knowing what's going on the world stage. And one thing I love about Robert and what he talks about is the cash flow quadrant and the 4 ways you can make income. Now, there's actually one more way, there's 5 ways. He missed one.
What's the way he missed?
He missed being unemployed and getting unemployment benefits.
And getting doubled because of COVID-19.
Yeah, but he missed that. So really, the cash flow quadrant, there's one more quadrant involved where if you're on a pension or you're on a disability or if you are unemployed, right? Yeah. Because that is a one way of making income, right? But let's say if you're not one of those, and if you are, that's okay. We'll just put you in that category. And then, so if you're anyone else, you're in one of these 4 categories. So first category is employee, and you have a job. So if you're employed, you've got a job. You basically got no leverage, right? And employees own about 5% of the wealth of the world, right? And really, what happens when you're an employee? You're trading time for dollars. That's what you're doing. Do you get time? Trade it for dollars. This is the funny thing. See, your parents probably said go to school, go to university and learn and stuff like that. A lot of times, you actually, by doing a lot of study, you actually get caught up in a box and get caught up in trading time for dollars as well. So let's say, for example, you do a lot of study, you become a lawyer. Well, lawyers charge out. They charge out a lot, but they charge out at 15-minute increments. You're still stuck to a certain amount per hour.
Yes.
And then if you're a doctor, doctors charge out as well per hour or per patient in the Medicare form. And when you first start, they're doing 100 hours a week as interns and working long hours for a little bit of pay. And as you go up, you get more. And as you become a specialist, you get paid more and more. But still, you're still trading time for dollars. That's the fact of it, right? Mm-hmm. And we need to really be clear on that, because obviously being a doctor and getting paid $300 an hour is getting better than working, digging holes and getting paid $180 an hour, whatever you get paid. The more skill you have, the more you get paid per hour, but you're still stuck in the hour thing. So then a lot of people to get over that is the next quadrant. And a lot of people try to get over that. And what they're doing is they decide to start a business and become self-employed.
So you're shifting from the E into the B.
S.
Oh, into the S.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Down here. So let's go down here.
Next. Yep.
Self-employed is here. And basically, self-employed is where you own a job, right? And basically, the amount of work determines how much you make as well. So, and actually, a lot of times you're actually working harder and doing more. So, for example, I knew a guy that used to work for a company, and then what he decided to do was buy a Jim's mowing lawnmower.
So, like a franchise.
Like a franchise.
Yeah,
right?
That makes sense.
And what happened was he bought himself a job, because what he had to do, he had to get a lawnmower and he had to buy all the stuff, and then he had to drive around and mow people's lawns to make money. Right? Or let's say you're a lawyer and you start your own practice. Well, at first, what you do is you start your own practice and you still trade time for dollars. And you might get a receptionist, but you're still trading time for dollars. You're doing the work, right? And that's where if you own a cafe or anything else when you're self-employed, that's what happens. So what you're doing really is leveraging time for dollars. And if you're successful and you work really hard, you can make more money than an employee. But it's difficult because, you look at in the first 2 years, 70% of businesses close down, and it's 90% of businesses close after 5 years.
Wow.
So it's not easy, it's hard, right? And it's risky. But you've got more control when you're self-employed, and if you want to work 100 hours every week, you can work 100 hours a week. But as an employee, your boss may not let you work 100 hours. Mm-hmm. If they don't let you work 100 hours, what do? Right? You can get a part-time job and do something else. So that's the next quadrant, right? But you're still trading time for dollars, but you can get other stuff. And then here's the other quadrant.
Now
B.
we move into the B. Okay.
Now we're talking about business owners. And what I mean by a business owner, how do you know the difference between a self-employed and a business owner?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because most people think when they're going into the S that they're actually a business owner, right?
Yep.
They're going, okay, I'm running a business, I'm a business owner. What's the difference?
I'll give you a big clue, a massive clue.
Okay.
And hope everyone can hear me, because that microphone is not the best. I'll give you a massive clue. And this is what I want you to do. So if you're either self-employed or business owner, and you're not sure which one it is, this is what I want you to do. Imagine that for 2 weeks, you went to a deserted island, no internet, no phones, no nothing.
Right.
How would you feel about your business or your company?
Right.
Right? Okay. Now, if you can go away for 2 weeks and nothing changes, you're a business owner. If you go away for 2 weeks, all hell breaks loose, the place falls apart, you're shitting yourself, you're stressed out, you can't enjoy yourself, well, guess what? You're self-employed. Because business owners, what they do is they own a system, right? And income does not depend on active work. You get people doing the work.
Got it.
Right? That's the way it is.
That's why I've got the little people here.
Yeah, that's it. That's why you've got people here, exactly, instead of a clock. So, and that's what, a lot of people that are self-employed want to get into business so they can do that. And that's a good thing to do. It's exciting, it's good, and it works well. Now, I'm fortunate I'm there. Actually, if I leave the business, usually does better than what I'm here.
It's a good place to be. Yeah.
I get in everyone's way being the boss, so I've got to really try to stay everyone's way so they can get on doing what they're doing. But but it's funny. Now the thing is, and I've actually been an employee. I've been unemployed. I've been an employee. I've been self-employed. I've been a business owner. So I've done all these quadrants. I've done all of them. So because I've done every single one of them, I can actually really talk from experience. Not many people have done all of them.
Yeah.
But I have. And then you've got the last quadrant here, right? The investor, right? And the investor is where you own the investment.
That's where you want to be, by the way.
And this is, so basically less than 5% of the population is here.
Wow.
Right? But see, income doesn't matter about people, systems, or time here. Right? This is where you make money from money.
Cool.
So this is where you make, it's a thing called capital. So when you've got money and you're making money out of it, yes, please, thanks, Christine. When you're making money out of money, the money is called capital. And making money out of capital is how the rich do it. This is where everyone's going. So it doesn't matter if you're unemployed, if you're an employee, if you're a self-employed or business owner. It's not the target, it's not the end game, right? Don't fool yourself, it's not the end game, because the end game is to become an investor. Because once you become an investor, that's where you become safe. And this is where your money works for you. This is where you make passive money. This is where the money, because as a business owner, what could happen is you can get a competitor and then suddenly you've lost your money. Something can go wrong. Yes, you can go away for 2 weeks, but you can't go away for a year.
Yeah.
So you're still sort of married. You know, if I went away for a year, I think things would be very different. But I could go away for 2 weeks. That's not a problem at all. But with my investments, I don't have to ever think about it. So passive money is investor. And, you know, people say it's making money when you sleep, but also it's making money when you're awake and asleep. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're making money.
Yeah, nice.
Right? And that's where we want to get to. And the thing is, what we're talking about is, and with our program, what it's specifically designed for, whether you're an employee, or you're self-employed or a business owner, our program gets you from there straight into I.
Nice.
Right? So most people think they've got to work their way around, go from E to S to B to I. But seriously, why go through S, B if you don't have to?
Getting a massive shortcut here, getting straight to I.
Yes. And I did it the long way, right? But what I'm saying is I'm not a big fan of complicated strategies taking years of my time. This way you're getting straight from point A to point B quicker, right? So really, at the end of the day, what we're doing with real estate is we're getting from E, from S, from B, getting some of the money we make and multiplying it through property.
Simple stuff, guys.
Right? And then, really, this is what I say. If you haven't replaced your income through property, that should be your number one goal.
Absolutely.
Whether you're an employee, whether you're self-employed, whether you're a business owner, it doesn't matter. Right? Because as an employee, you could lose your job.
Yeah.
As self-employed, you could lose your business very easily. And as a business owner, that can happen too. They've all got varying risks and rewards and things like that. And having a business or being self-employed or even being an employee for the right company is very rewarding in itself. So I'm not saying anything against it. However, it's a lot more rewarding when you've got the income to back you up. See, I'm a business owner, but you know, it's a lot less stressful when I know I've got lots of properties making me money week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I can afford to make mistakes in business. If I prefer not to, but if I did. But if I did,
You do it just for fun.
but if I did, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't make a difference, and that's actually a powerful place to be.
Nice.
Right.
Awesome.
So yeah, so that's the cash flow quadrant, and we had, you know, and so what I do is when I'm looking at investment, this is where a lot of people get it wrong. That's why I want to go deep down into this.
So what does this have to do with the NRAS property?
It's not an NRAS, it's a disability scheme property.
Oh, disability scheme. What does that have to do with it? That?
Okay, what has it got to do with that? This is what it's got to do with it. Because basically, with the disability scheme, it's quite specialised.
Right.
Because it's specialised, it's almost like a business. It's a hybrid, right?
Right.
So, for example, when you do multi-room, let room houses, right? Well, it's not like getting a house and renting it out. It's like renting out 4 different rooms. You've got to manage the people. You've got to do it differently. So it's a business.
It's like a business.
It's like a business. Yeah. So
it's not passive, in other words.
you're not in the I group.
Right.
And see, the thing is, I'm going to go back to this when my thing stops freezing. But basically, when you're investing, what you want to focus on, if you want to be an investor, is an investment where capital makes you money.
Right.
So that's the question you need to ask. So this is the question we need to ask when it comes to investing. And a lot of people get this wrong, and this is what you've got to get right. So let's just share the screen again. So basically, this is what the question you've got to ask is, what am I doing? Am I trading time for money? Am I getting people to make money? Or is my money making money?
Right, yeah.
Yes. So with the disability scheme, you need to get you need to get people to do it for you or do it yourself.
Yeah.
And they normally charge like 20%, not like 8% on normal house. They charge 20%.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's harder work.
So you got to know the real ins and
Well,
outs.
apparently
and
to get a tenant takes 300 hours of work.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of work, and this is the challenge though. And this is why I don't like things that are unusual or different.
Okay.
Because for something for something to go up in value, you need it to have appeal because people want to buy it.
Yes.
Right? So, for example, I buy a 3 or 4 bedroom townhouse or house.
Yep.
That's within a capital city or large regional centre with close to, there's lots of criteria, but close to shops and transport and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I get something that's very, very, it's desirable. People want to live there.
Yep.
So what I've got is somewhere where people want to live.
Right.
People want to own it. So because of that, and it's 80% of the people that want this, it's really simple because it's very basic.
Compared to that disability scheme, there's a very small percentage of people that would be the right fit for those.
So getting the right fit is difficult.
Yeah.
Of getting someone that wants to live there.
So you're cutting out a big chunk of your market, in other words.
Massive chunk. And I look.
And you don't want to do that.
I think it's great that there's people out there doing this for disabled people. Right?
Of course.
Which is
nothing
fantastic.
Wrong with
So
that.
I'm all for it. And a good friend of mine does this in Melbourne and does it very successfully. But it's a business. He works hard.
Right.
He does it.
Yeah.
He hires staff to do it. It's a lot of work, right?
Okay.
So it's not an investment. It's more like a hybrid. It's a hybrid of self-employed investor and business owner. And that's what you've got to be clear on. And the thing is, another thing is renovations. Right? Renovations. Well, if you do the renos yourself, then it's not an investment, you're self-employed.
Yes.
Right? If you hire someone else to do the renos, then it's more of a business.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's still not an investment yet. But it can be. And it's all a matter of that balance. There's nothing wrong with it. I've done it in the past. However, what I've learnt is the easiest way to do it is just buy a property and let the capital go do all the work.
Yep.
Right? Because, for example, if you're doing renos on a house to add value, surely everyone else can do the same thing if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And are you better than someone else at doing renos? Maybe not. And a lot of people that do renos end up working for very, very low money per hour.
Yeah.
Thinking of adding value but working for free.
Yep.
It happens a lot like that. And, they're doing bathrooms, they're not doing them properly and painting the house and blah, 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 and whatever they're doing, you know what I mean? I've done that myself. And really, unless if you're good at doing renos, hire yourself out as a renovation expert and get paid the real dollars, right?
Yeah.
If that's what you love doing, do it. But get paid the right money for it.
Yes.
Right? It's a bit like the sport, And also like developments, a lot of people want to do developments, but development is risky and you've got to put a lot of effort in and a lot of time. And it's okay once you've got a lot of properties, but you don't start off doing developments. That's not the thing that you start off doing. What we want to do is you want to start off really basic. So it's with investing, if you're starting out, what you should be doing is going to the kiddie pool with the little floaties on and get yourself a swim teacher to help you so you don't drown. Right? You don't jump off the deep end, off the jetty straight down if you don't know how to swim. That's what doing a development is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fine if you're really good at swimming and you've been swimming for a long time, you can jump off the jetty, you're fine. But if you're just starting with swimming, you wouldn't be doing that, would you?
No way.
No way, exactly.
Not if you didn't know how to swim at all.
No.
Or not if you've never even been in a swimming pool.
No. So really what you should be doing is getting a swimming coach to teach you how to swim so you don't drown.
Absolutely.
Right? And then work your way up from the kiddie pool to the big pool and then jumping off the jetty and then jumping off Acapulco or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So really at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. So when you think of investing, you've got to think about what is an investment and you've got to just be clear on that. And with clarity comes a lot of power.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people don't know why they're doing something.
But also I think a lot of people might get caught up on the get rich quick, with doing developments and things like that. Thinking they're going to make a lot of money overnight. Yeah,
so when you're doing a development, you're competing with builders and developers and people with more experience than you. In the same marketplace.
Bigger wallets than you.
In the same marketplace.
Yeah.
So if it's not good enough for them, it's good enough for you, you've got to have to be really clear on that. Because a lot of times there's a reason for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. If it sounds too good to be true, then it usually is. Look, a lot of people want to get rich quick, and you know, getting rich quick may sound good, but it's not going to happen, because if you want to make money in property, it does take time, and it does take following the right tried and tested strategy.
Absolutely. There's two roads. There's the fast road and the slow road.
Yeah.
And the fast road is not so fast.
No.
And the slow road is not really that slow as what you think it is.
It's faster
There you go.
than the fast road in the end.
And that's the thing, is that's the paradox about this, but that's true.
Yeah.
So look, that's basically what we're going to talk about tonight. And, you know, it's already dark outside, as you can see. Wow. It was sunshine before.
No, it wasn't.
I could
We
see the
started
sun.
when it was dark, George.
No,
It started like
if
this.
you rewind it, you'll see a little bit of light. Yeah.
So guys, look, I think it's just about, you know, getting educated, really checking out, you know, what's out there, getting it aligned with your goals, and just going through the steps, and getting someone who's got some runs on the board at the end of the day. And
I think that's important, getting runs on the board. But the thing is, whenever there's these schemes, and look,
Right.
even the word scheme makes me sound a bit.
Oh, it makes my skin crawl.
Right. I really
It sounds like a get rich quick.
Yeah. But look, there are these schemes out there, and this is what I say. First, get your basics right.
Yeah.
Right? Get yourself some properties that are going to be high growth. Get a golden goose that's going to lay golden eggs for you.
Yeah.
Then you can get yourself a turtle and the hedgehog and all these other
And all these
things.
experimental animals.
You can do that afterwards, but really
just start with your bread and butter.
get the basics right first before you jump into this other stuff, because you know, I really think you've got to get the basics right, and once you've got the basics right, then you can muck around.
You've got to lay your foundations. We've got to get your foundations solid before you start building.
What you need to do is you need to own property in capital cities or large regional centres that are going to go up in value.
Yeah.
That's your step one. And then step two, then you can worry about the other stuff. But really, at the end of the day, let's get the foundations right, because the foundations are very important. And if you get the foundations right, that will serve you for the rest of your life, completely and utterly. And that's the thing. That's the beautiful thing. So, you know, we're going live at the moment on quite a few channels.
Cool.
And I was going to see if there's any questions. So let's do a call out for questions.
We're going to open the floor now, guys. We're going to have a look, see if you do a bit of a Q&A. Because I think what I find very common is a lot of people have either got one of our three pillars, because we've got strategy, growth, and cash flow. A lot of times people just focus on the cash flow, and they look for high rental yields, and they look for something that they think is going to be really high cash flow. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to make sure you get the right balance, because you don't want to sacrifice your capital growth, because in the long run, your capital growth is going to be way more important than that cash flow initially.
Totally, exactly.
So you need to really get that balance right with getting into the right areas, because if you're getting a $400,000 property, the goal is for that to be worth $800,000 in around 10 years' time. And if you're getting like a really high, like 9% plus rental yield, that's probably not going to happen, because they're usually quite far out, which means they're not near a CBD, which means there's no demand for people to actually want to live there, which is why they're paying more rent.
Yeah, we had a comment in one of my videos here. This guy Brenton says, this model is about totally wrong on capital growth, which seems risky given there's no wage growth, no immigration. Well, actually, we've got the biggest immigration we've ever had. So let's read out what he said. No immigration and steady growth in unemployment. I think it's more likely it will take much more than 50 years to double. Look, the deal is our economy has only gone down 1%. We've got the biggest immigration we've ever had in our history since the 1970s.
Wow.
So they've got it wrong there. And some
Fact check yourself, Brenton.
No, that's okay. Look, it's good. I appreciate people coming out and saying things, but the thing is, the fact of it is, I need to get a little bit more evidence before people just start coming in saying, well, I think this is going to happen. Well, you could think that, you know, the world's going to end. Yeah,
give me the facts.
Yeah, the fact of it is, you know, I've done this meticulous work on property and how it's going to work around the world. And I've got the stats on just about every country on how it works. And Australia's in the top place to be. You know, you look at the best countries in the world to invest in property. They're going to have massive capital growth. There's Australia, there's New Zealand, Singapore, and Israel.
Awesome.
That's the four ones that are flagged as going to be going the most.
But Australia's in the top of the top.
Australia's on top of the top. But the thing is, these four countries, what they've got is they've got a lot of the economy is internally generated.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Also, they've got a lot of immigration.
Australia's actually growing.
Yes, and
3 times faster than China.
That's right. And also, not only that, all these four countries got a lack of land.
Right.
Singapore, it's tiny.
Yeah.
Right? That's
big
why it's
lack
got
of land there. Yeah.
Israel is a lot of desert.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at Australia, it might be big, but we've got lack of land.
A lot of desert in Australia too.
That's right, exactly. So because of that. So there's a lot of reasons why capital growth is going to continue. And look, I've heard this over the last 25 years, every single year.
Well, you look at what's happened with property in Australia over the past 120 years. It keeps doubling.
It's averaged 9.2%. And the fact of it is, it's 100 years. Immigration need houses too, Boris. Yes, thank you, Boris.
Absolutely.
And that's right.
That's why we've actually got a shortage of houses in Australia.
We've got a shortage of houses, and basically the fact of it is, we've got the biggest immigration. So, this is the amazing thing. If you go back to the 1970s and buy a property, would you do it?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, I'd buy 10, right? Now the thing is...
How much would they be worth today?
It'd be a fortune. But I mean, if you go back to the 80s, would you do it?
Absolutely.
90s.
Yep.
2000.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what decade we're talking about, they've all doubled, right? Mm-hmm. That's the fact of it. Yeah. So the fact of it is they double every 10 years. And that's what they've been doing. And I'm saying even if they don't, even if they double in 12 or 15 years, you're still doing well. But the fact of it is, it's like we've got a DeLorean time machine and we're going back to the 70s of that massive immigration and the economy and everything else like that. And yeah, sure, we've got a bit of a dip from COVID.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2008 we had a dip because of GFC.
There's always going to be cycles.
And during GFC, there's a lot of people out there going, "Oh no, property's going to go down. It's never going to go up again. We're not going to have any growth in the next 20 years." Seriously, the people that missed out on the property boom in the 2008, the GFC, they blinked and they missed it. Well, it's the same people that are going to miss it this time around again. All the naysayers, all the people going, "Oh, blah blah blah." There's a lot of negative people out there, and I understand there's a lot of fear out there. But the fact that it is, fortune doesn't favour the fearful.
Fortune favours the bold.
Yes, but not only that, it favours the prepared. Right? So what I suggest you do is be prepared to take advantage of the next property boom. Because if you blink, you're going to miss it. And the next property boom is going to be amazing. And, I captured the last one, and that was great. It was really good because what happened was I had a lot of properties exposed to the last property boom. And last year I made over $1 million out of property.
Awesome.
High five.
Nice.
And that was without getting out of bed. While I was awake, while I was asleep, it made it.
So it kept coming in, it keeps churning.
Exactly. And the thing is, next year it's probably going to go up.
Yeah.
And keep doing that.
Of course it will.
You know what I mean?
It's going to keep going up no matter what. So it just keeps going up. So
you're talking about developing being for the big fish. Is it not a good idea to buy property now that has good development potential in the future? Look, depending on your tax situation, I think buying properties with potential in the future is good. So I like to mix it up. Because what I like to do, the number one thing I want to do is I want to tap out my tax. Tap out the tax. So if you're an employee and you're paying a lot of tax, that's where the real dollars are. We can take that money and we can put it into property, right? And we're helping people get between $4,000 to $12,000 a year, every year from the tax department, putting it straight into property. That's very powerful because the challenge is the developing property in the future is a great idea, and we do teach people how to do that once they've tapped out their tax first and got their high growth properties.
Because you need a safety net. You need your passive stuff coming in to keep you safe.
So step one, find properties that you can depreciate so you can tap out your tax. Once you tap out your tax, then look at future developing sites that was going to go and you can subdivide. Totally.
Awesome.
Nothing wrong with that. So that's a very good thing. So thank you for asking that question. But really, most people don't tap out the tax and they're trying to do it the other way around.
Yeah.
Right?
Or stretching right to the limit of their ability and putting themselves in a very high risk position.
You don't want to do that.
Smart.
You want to invest something easy, right? Something very easy. If it's going to cost you $20 a week, and if you can afford $20 a week easily and you can afford, it doesn't make a difference to you. That's what you want to do. Do it easy.
Absolutely.
Start off doing it easy. And the developing, that's for the big fish, but also it's the big pool. When you're diving off the diving board. And once you learn how to swim in the little pool and then the medium pool, it's fine, totally fine. But first learn how to swim.
You've got to get your skills up first. You've got to start with the basics. We've got to lay your foundations and get those strong before we look at doing development.
There's too many people that dive in too deep too quick. They get overexcited.
And it's very scary because
have you done any development?
They do
yes.
money.
I've been involved in developing. I do developing, yes. Mm-hmm. And it's actually, we're going to be putting out a program on developing down the track, probably next year. But I enjoy developing, it's good fun. But you need to have a lot of cash reserves and you need to know what you're doing and you need to really be strict with the numbers. You
need to have a lot of passive properties already in your portfolio supporting you because that's your safety net.
So with the development, see, if I do a development, I know that if I get stuck for a year or two, I'm getting projects that doesn't make a difference if I get stuck.
Right.
Because, if you're doing a development and you need this to get finished on a certain time.
Because you need the cash flow and stuff like that. Don't count on it at all because there's so many variables.
You do it when you're comfortable and when you can stretch it out if you need to.
Absolutely.
Because
if you think it's going to take 2 years, act like it's going to take you 5 years.
Yeah,
because it could.
The fact of it is you need to sort of really budget for the worst.
You need to have a lot of cash behind you.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. But yeah, so I like to keep it simple. I like to keep the simple process for people buying properties that you can just depreciate and you're getting your cash flow back from the actual tax band. Because really, at the end of the day, what I really want to do is I want to leverage. So what I want to do is I want to use my team, my circle of safety. I want to use the bank's money. I want to use the tenant, the tax man, and the property doing all the heavy lifting. What I want to do is sit pretty at home and relax.
Keep it simple.
That's it.
Give it a kiss. Wow.
That's right. But really, at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. You don't want to do the heavy lifting yourself.
That's right.
So there you go.
Awesome.
So look, I've enjoyed talking to everyone tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a great night. It's been great to come on the show again and share my opinions.
Christina, thank you so much for joining us too. It's very good.
You're so welcome, guys. Lovely catching up with you and seeing all your beautiful faces through the computer here.
Yes, and look, remember, every Wednesday night at 6:05, actually 6:35 Australian Eastern Time and 6:05 Australian Central Time, we're here live talking. Bring your questions, ask questions in the group. We're here to answer what you will need to answer because I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about. This show's here for you. We're here for you. We're here to help you get educated and stay safe and invest in property the right way the first time around. Yes, absolutely. Avoid making mistakes. Avoid, that pain and get a massive shortcut to successful investing. That's what it's all about. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Lovely to see you. Bye-bye. Mwah. Enjoy your night. Bye-bye.